The man dipped his hand into wet paint and smeared it along the side of the shoe. That was how the world-famous Adidas logo was born, and the reason he did it was to distinguish his brand from his brother's company, Puma. In 1924, Adi was just a poor shoemaker. He spent every day obsessed with developing athletic shoes, dreaming that one day, the world's greatest athletes would run in his shoes. But at that time, people simply did not care about sports. Ordinary people would never spend money on shoes made specifically for athletics. As a result, Adi was constantly mocked. His brother Rudy, however, was one of the most popular men in town, a born salesman. He was adored by the local girls. One day, Rudy came to Adi with a face full of bruises. He said, "You make the shoes, I'll sell them. Together we'll do something great and never be laughed at again." It turned out that earlier that day, Rudy had been preparing for a business trip when he ran into co-workers mocking Adi again. To defend his brother, he ended up fighting them. Seeing his brother's determination, Adi's fighting spirit was ignited as well. The two brothers decided to build a great business together, but manufacturing required money, and the bank refused to give them a loan. Rudy relied on his sales talent to persuade the bank manager, but after seeing the shoes, the manager rejected them again because the soccer shoes Adi designed were too light. He believed they would fall apart after only a few games, and at that time, the soccer ball was heavy and hard, so players needed steel toe caps to protect their feet. But Adi argued that players needed lightweight shoes to truly feel the ball, and even suggested changing the material used to make soccer balls. After hearing that, the manager looked at Adi as if he were crazy. Their loan application was rejected, but Rudy refused to give up. Since they couldn't get a loan, they decided to start with retail sales. Rudy took the shoes to sports fields everywhere to promote them. Everyone who tried on the shoes praised them. Combined with Rudy's exceptional salesmanship, they quickly secured partnerships with many athletic teams. In just a few days, they sold 300 pairs of shoes. They used the money to build a shoe factory, and the brothers' business continued to grow. Almost every athlete in Germany wore shoes made by Adi. To further expand production, Rudy decided to apply for another loan, but Adi disliked socializing and kept avoiding the meeting. At that moment, Adi's wife volunteered to go in his place. This time, they successfully secured the loan, but their intimate behavior did not go unnoticed by Adi and his sister-in-law. 10 years later, Adi's annual sales had reached 200,000 pairs. The two brothers, who were once mocked, had become giants in Germany's shoe industry. One day, his wife suddenly asked Adi, "Can you make shoes this small?" Adi immediately realized that his wife was pregnant. He excitedly brought her to share the news with his brother and sister-in-law, but they did not seem very happy. It turned out that after obtaining the loan together, Rudy had developed feelings for Kata, although Kata sternly rejected him. Their meeting was seen by the sister-in-law, who then tried to drive a wedge between the brothers. She told Rudy that when people talked about athletic shoes, they only thought of Adi, and he was nothing. Although Rudy claimed not to care, resentment had already begun to grow. Time passed to the 1936 Berlin Olympics. To make a name for themselves at the Games, they began selecting athletes to sponsor, wanting to please the Nazis. Rudy insisted on sponsoring only German athletes, but Adi argued that nationality did not matter and wanted to provide shoes to the best athletes regardless of country. They ended up arguing because of it. He accused his brother of being too stubborn and caring only about his own reputation while neglecting the business. But Adi still stood by his principles. He offered a pair of shoes to a black athlete. After trying them on, the athlete immediately loved their lightweight design, and while wearing those shoes, he went on to become a world champion. But waiting for Adi was a factory shutdown notice. It turned out that the Olympics had been intended as a tool for Hitler's Nazi propaganda, yet a black athlete won the gold medal while wearing shoes sponsored by a German company. As a result, their factory was ordered to stop production, so Rudy and Adi went to plead with a government minister. The minister demanded that they manufacture military boots instead, and limited them to producing only 6,000 pairs per month to keep the factory alive. The brothers had no choice but to agree. But only a few days later, they received another order. One of the brothers had to serve in the military. Rudy argued that, since the factory had become part of the war industry, both of them should remain to oversee production. But the authorities rejected his request and stated that Adi was the indispensable one. Rudy's resentment exploded again. He had a huge argument with Adi. Then he got on the truck to join the army. After Rudy left, the shoe factory was completely turned into a Nazi military plant, producing rocket launchers for the army every day. In 1945, World War II came to an end. Rudy was fortunate enough to return alive. The Allied forces also occupied the town and ordered the destruction of all Nazi military factories. The brothers' factory was one of them. Adi explained that they had been forced into it, but the officer refused to believe him. Just then, his wife took out the photo of Adi with the world champion. Only then did the officer believe them. Although the factory was saved, Rudy was arrested. Someone reported him as a Nazi. Rudy immediately assumed Adi had turned him in, so he blamed Adi for turning the factory into a weapons plant. Adi was arrested as well. After an investigation, both of them were cleared of all charges and released. When they got home, each of them believed the other had betrayed him, so they ended up arguing again. Then the sister-in-law revealed a shocking secret. She said Adi's son was actually Rudy's child. At that moment, Rudy chose to stay silent. The two of them were completely estranged and the company was split in two. The engineer stayed with Adi, while Rudy took the customers and the sales team. He started a new company and named it Puma. From then on, Adidas and Puma became rivals for decades. So, which one do you prefer, Puma or Adidas?